Don't we always? Welcome back to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ. How are you today, RJ?
Matt, every Monday I go, man, the weekend was not long enough. And then I realize I get to record Stack Your Points this fine, wonderful Monday, and my day gets better. I still wish it was the weekend. At least we get to record.
Recording day is always a happy day. We're also joined by, you know him as KidCat37 in the Discords, but Craig. Craig, how are you today?
I'm doing well, a little sleepy, a little tired, but we are motivated because it's the best day of the week.
It is indeed. And tiny goblins be tiny
You have
goblining.
no idea. Oh my God.
Yes, I do. I'm the
That
only
was
other
at
person on this
RJ.
podcast. Okay.
That was at RJ.
I was about to say, I'm the only other person on this podcast that knows it.
All I know about children is you get to give them back. That's the nice part about being an aunt, is I just get to hand
Yes.
them back and walk away. It's the best part of the job.
Yeah, I miss that. I miss that terribly. Dealing with your own is, we'll go with fun. Lonnie's on assignment this week. He'll get to chuckle at that one. And move over to our topics.
Go.
And we're going to continue with our topics this week. Craig, your topic this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you all know this, but we are all humans and things are ever changing.
What?
But I, but just curious, if you were about to lose 30 to 40% of your annual spend and it just suddenly disappeared, how might that change your credit card lifestyle? Or how might your lifestyle change affect your credit card strategy? So, fun fact for those of you who don't know, just got a new job. I will be traveling a significantly less. And also, somebody in my house is starting a new program. So we are also, because of school, going to be doing less travel as well. So over the next 2 to 3 years, we're looking at being far more sedentary, at least from a work and just random one-off trip standpoint. And so my question to you all is, what do you do when you see that you have less spend and not necessarily from oh, I've had a catastrophic event, but I've had a lifestyle change. What do you do to change your setup? What aspects of your setup do you value right now? So, for example, what do you value most? Is it hotel status? Is it your ability to have a companion fare? And what would you keep? And what would you cut? What would you let go? So let's start out, RJ.
So I think that there's a couple of areas I want to hit on. The first is I think that our lives change year to year more than we give it credit for. Whether it's as big as a new job or not, I think every year things are different. There's new streaming services we might subscribe to, there's new hobbies we might get into that are not just sit around Discord and talk about credit cards or video games, right? There are new things that come up. So I do think that every year on the renewal of a card, even a card that has fit into your life for 10 years, it's not a bad idea to see if that card actually does still fit or if it's just the inertia carrying you through. My platinum renewed, I think about a month and a half ago at this point. I sat down and tried to convince myself to get rid of it, right? Like sometimes you have to go at it from that point of view of why shouldn't I have this card? Don't think about it as what benefits it. Why shouldn't I have this card? And sometimes it'll give you surprising results. Like I got rid of a couple cards. Like I love the green card, but I have hotel co-brand cards now that eat up almost all of my hotel spend. And what doesn't, I go through Delta stays for the portal for MQDs. So I use a Delta card because I get 3x Delta points there, right? So for me, having the green didn't necessarily make sense in that context where it did before. And that's a card I talk about a lot and I genuinely really like. And depending on what they do with the refresh, maybe I have it again. So going through that as time goes on, I think is important. So when something happens, you're more dialed into what you have, right? if I switch jobs and all of a sudden I had to start traveling, for example, which would be, I know, the opposite of your point, but is the opposite of my current state, right? Like you're going from a lot of travel to less, I would be going from no travel to some. It would require me to think about, okay, what I have now is optimized for personal travel, but what if the place I had to go was a United hub and my airport flew directly to that United hub? That's going to change a lot for me, right? Because I might still keep some Delta, but now is it worth going to a hybrid setup and doing United for work and Delta for personal and going that route? Is it worth going United all the way? Those are things. I am the type of person that I literally sat down 2 weeks ago and I said, if I got rid of all of my current credit cards and I went purely cash back, what would it look like? And I am not a cashback person, but here's the thing. I talk about credit cards every week that I don't have, but we're talking about different topics, we're talking about different things. I, as somebody who does shows like this, right? And the live, especially the lives where people are bringing up cards that I don't have or my co-hosts don't have, and I know they're not necessarily going to bring up. I got to know these things, right? But what it helps me do is when something in my life changes, I have some adaptability already built in because I know which direction I would go. Wells Fargo is where I would go if I wanted to do cashback. They are. Like, Matt knows how much I wish I could make the autograph fit and the mental hurdles I have gone through to try to make that damn card fit. I have tried so many ways. It just doesn't fit, which is why I won't apply for it because A, Wells Fargo would say no, and B, it doesn't fit me, right? But that is a card that I want to make work. So I think when your life changes, there are cards that worked before that aren't going to work, right? So I think always having some level of editing and auditing your cards is good. And then when that big thing happens, there is additional editing and auditing that have to happen. I do think like some of it is also, it is easier, in my opinion, to keep co-brands than it is to keep like Chase, Amex cards, things like that. At the high level. I'm not talking like the Blue Business Plus or even the green, right? Those are Amex, relatively low annual fee green card, right? It's like it's Amex, right? But for me, like it would be easier for me to keep my Delta Reserve than my Platinum. Now it would be very hard for me to get rid of the Platinum, but it is still easier for me to keep the Reserve than the Platinum in their current iterations. We will see what the changes bring, but in their current iterations, the Reserve is easier, marginally, but easier than the Platinum. And I know Matt and I played the game. That is contextual. This is just vacuum. So it becomes that of if I'm going to do this or that, I'm going to look at those things in a different way. And look, I think that some of it is just like, what do you want to keep? If it's worth to you keeping the flexibility of having a companion pass, then if you use it, you're getting value out of it, right? That's the thing with the Delta Companion Pass is if you use it, you're going to get value because there are very few flights you're going to take in first class anywhere from Delta point to Delta point that are under 650. So you're getting value, right? And if that's something you think you're going to use, even if you're not traveling as much, keep the card. So I know I'm going around and around, but I think that's what you do when this happens. You have to go around and around with yourself. You have to make the pros and cons list and then go think of something else and then come back to the pros and cons list and go around with yourself again, right? It can't, very few people are going to be like, all right, I'm going to keep this and this done, not going to think about it again, going to cancel those cards or downgrade those cards, and I'm done. Sometimes it actually helps to ruminate on things and to go around in circles with yourself and to think, okay, what would it look like if? what would it look like if I kept this card? What would it look like if I kept this card? What would it look like if I kept these three cards but didn't keep this card? Like sometimes those circles that we drive ourselves in are good. Like most Saturdays, I go for a drive. I live in the country. There's a lot of nice 55-mile-an-hour roads where I can just go for a drive and just let my mind sort of drift. And sometimes it lands on credit cards and sometimes it doesn't, but my mind will drift. And those are the times you want to have your credit card planning strategies. Nobody else around. Maybe if you have a play or two or a spousal unit, like you take them with it and you just chat. Like nothing, you don't need the numbers in front of you. You don't need 8 spreadsheets. Just talk, just think, just do whatever, but allow yourself to have those moments around and round because sometimes those are the moments that are actually going to make you figure out the thing, not the deep spreadsheets of 1.34 versus 1.43. I know we like to think, and I'm a spreadsheet fan, even though I'm not a cents per point devotee, but sometimes it's almost always the times I'm in the car that I come to the final decision versus sitting in front of the spreadsheet.
No, I think that's actually very insightful. And I find myself having decision fatigue to your point, and I think that is very much so where we are right now. Player two and I are trying to figure out what we actually value, and less so right now. Do we really care about airlines? Because we are moving to the RJ sense of I'm just going to pay for what I want, but we are really loving some hotels right now, and that is where we are spending the vast majority of these trips. But before we hop in any further there, Matt, what about you?
Yeah. And thinking about this topic, what sprang to mind was Lonnie's process of applying for a card, where if he could talk himself out of it, it probably meant that the card wasn't worth pursuing. With this sort of taking the inverse, if you can talk yourself into getting rid of the card, it's probably worth getting rid of the card. If you have significant change to a particular category of spend that was a huge category and is now not going to be a huge category, you can move off of cards that specialize in that category, whether it be through multipliers or travel day, making travel day more bearable, or lounge access to particular lounges that you're no longer going to be visiting with the sort of frequency that you once were. If you can talk yourself into getting rid of a card, that's probably the first card to get rid of. If you're having a harder time convincing yourself to get rid of a card because of whatever other reasons, right? Like those cards then in your first round of culling, assuming you're going to be culling cards. If your first round of culling is, I can easily talk myself out into getting rid of cards X, Y, and Z. Cards X, Y, and Z are the first cards you have to reevaluate. Cards Alpha, Beta, Gamma are going to be, you can talk yourself into keeping Alpha, Beta, Gamma, but it's going to be a bigger stretch. And it's easier to keep those cards if X, Y, and Z are gone. Or X is gone and Y is kept and Z is maybe moved to a different card. Or whatever your thought process ends up being. If you are prioritizing a new form of travel, like dive into that form of travel and keep that form of travel, obviously, right? So if you're saying that airline cards aren't going to be an area of concern for you for the next little bit, you can ease back on those, whether you have the ability to turn those cards into other cards, depending on the issuer. One issuer in mind doesn't really care what you do with their cards, except maybe it sounds like they might be. Or, you can just pop them all down to no annual fee versions of the cards, where you want to keep the credit line open, but you don't necessarily want to pay, I don't know, $650 annual fee or $695 annual fee if you're paying that for, say, I don't know, the United Club card. If you're prioritizing now hotel cards, keeping those, prioritizing those, and cutting around the other edges with cards that give you other travel benefits that aren't going to be as needed going forward. So if Lonnie can talk himself out of a card, you should be able to talk, and you can't talk yourself into keeping a card. If you can't talk yourself into it, you're probably best served letting that card go. Not just speaking directly to you, Craig, but like to anyone else. If you can talk yourself into getting rid of the card, if you're in that, I can get rid of 2 or 3 cards, the first cards that you can talk yourself into getting rid of because they no longer fit, those are the cards that are going to be the easiest to let go. Me, I only hold 2 annual fee cards. I will potentially maybe add more in the future if Wells Fargo wakes up, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Or if the Sapphire Preferred is suddenly a card worth grabbing, in my opinion, to me, because it'll fit me better, great. But if I can talk myself out of the Sapphire Reserve, cool. I'll talk myself out of the Sapphire Reserve, I'll downgrade it and go from there. If I can talk myself into, if I held the American Express Platinum, if I could talk myself into downgrading the Platinum to the green card because it's no longer going to serve what I need it to do for me, I would do that. Whatever the first cards are that you can talk yourself into, go from there. You don't need to hold on to cards just in the off chance that maybe I'll use a credit. If you can't, if you're not going to be organically using the FHR credit on the Platinum, it's not really worth holding the Platinum if you're cutting back on other forms of travel. If the what the Platinum does with FHR can be replicated to an extent with, say, the Hilton Aspire, right? Keep the Hilton Aspire, you can downgrade the Platinum. Again, I'm just using cards I know you have in your arsenal, Greg. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I do think that if you're, as things change for you or for other folks, reassess your cards. You don't have to go spreadsheeting. You can take the drive that RJ takes to clear her head or clear her wallet of cards, whichever. You can talk to your spousal unit. You can talk to yourself about it. You can talk to folks in the Discord or try and get as much information or try to get as many viewpoints as you can because points acquisition is super easy. You can always acquire points. It's just going to be a question of the point utilization after you acquire the points. If I'm not using it for flights, do I really need to prioritize holding it for X, Y, and Z reason? If I'm not using it for $100 every 6 months at Saks, do I really need to? No, I'm kidding. It's just a silly credit on the Platinum, but the FHR credit is definitely
Ridiculous.
something to consider. It's going away, I'm sure. The FHR is definitely something to consider. The travel bank, if you're flying a lot or if you're cutting back on flying, do you really need the travel bank credit? That's something to consider, or not travel bank, sorry. The airline incidental credit on the American Express Platinum that usually finds its way into United Travel Bank, even though you don't fly United. Go figure. These are the first questions you ask when you start doing that reevaluation. If it's worth keeping, you can talk yourself into keeping it. Great. If you can talk yourself into getting rid of it, it's the first card to go. It's one of the first cards to go. Yeah, if you're as you evaluate, reevaluate, and evaluate one more time just to be 100% certain.
No, absolutely. And to your point, and just context, new job, spousal unit, player two, whatever your preference is, starting a graduate program. And I just know that we are not going to be doing the travel that we are doing right now. I was having a conversation with Lonnie and RJ. The moment I got this new job, 23 trips for the remainder of this year just went right out the window, right? And that then puts into question, do I need lounge access? Probably not. Is it nice to have it for the few trips a year that we'll go someplace to visit a friend domestically? Maybe, but do I need it? Who knows? And so then it calls into question, these cards are going to get more expensive. And if the platinum goes up to 895, like we think, or 995, or whatever the insert blank new number is, do I need a platinum card as opposed to just having a gold and a green? Or at this point, I have an autograph. Do I need a green? Yeah, it's fair.
If you want MR
But
points, yeah.
cash back, you can still buy them at 2 points a
You can't
2 cents a
buy
point.
MR points.
No, but you can buy Hilton
Rakuten.
points.
You could, well, yeah. Rakuten's not. Anyway,
Throws a
I was just
wrench at
saying,
your whole thing.
no, the
but
caffeine is wearing. Uh,
but no, to your point, I was just saying like we're moving towards a primarily hotel setup where the Hilton Aspire and more than likely the Bonvoy Brilliant will be center points of things. I have still not decided if the we already paid our old annual fee. I highly doubt that I'm paying $1,000 or 990 for the new Sapphire Reserve. That's just absurd for me. And we will see because obviously the Platinum functions a little bit better with kind of plug and play with those two systems. But we're thinking, hey, we're not going to be doing a lot of travel. Delta has the most flights in and out of Indy. What are we doing? How are we really thinking about where we're going forward? And it's a lot of cost cutting measures and really taking a hard look to say, RJ, to your point, do I want this or do I need this? And I lounges beforehand were a need because if I'm flying 30, 40, 50 times a year, it's nice to sometimes just grab a snack and get a shower. But if I'm flying 10 times a year, 20 times a year, it's a pretty big difference then.
Here's the thing,
So
though,
we shall see.
that I think is important. It's okay to want things.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
and it's not more, this is more towards the listeners than to you. I want lounge access. It is not, to me, it is not a negotiable. Like, I will have lounge access. I will always have a card that will get me into a Delta and or Centurion lounge. There is no future unless I am the head in the Futurama glass and I am not, I can be put in the storage hole. I'm not gonna have a life where I don't have have lounge access, right? That is purely a want. That is purely a want. But guess what? I want it. I have the card for it, and I'm good. So it's okay. And can I justify it the way you did for 50 flights a year? No. But guess what? I want it. I have it. So if you want something, that's okay. You don't need, like, your mother is not checking your homework after this, right? You don't have to go in front of the credit card high commission and explain why you have these cards. You can want it just to want it. I have the Surpass. Do I need it with the Hilton Business? No, but I want the card. It's going to become an Aspire, so it does have a purpose, but I want the card. I use the card. It's 1 Hilton point more when I use it for dining. But guess what? I want it. I want to use it instead of having everything on the Hilton Business, so I do, right? So it's okay to want things. And I want the listeners to understand it is okay to want things. Not everything has to be austere. Also, if you get rid of a card and then 2 years later go, I really want that card back, you can reapply for it. You might not get a welcome bonus, but if it fit really well into your life and you made a mistake, you can go back to it. It will be okay.
And just to be clear, 100% agree with you. I was just talking about from my sense,
Oh, yeah,
we
absolutely.
hold a platinum and a sapphire right now because, hey, I want lounge access for work and where we were, but like considering now, and again, I think there's for in me, for my use case, there's a difference between want, need, and this is a little absurd. It's absurd for me to hold a Venture X, Sapphire Reserve, and a Platinum, and right now a US bar to say, oh yeah, I'm traveling that much. I'm not traveling that much anymore, especially when we're not also then putting that kind of spend on these cards. And again, using cards as intended. What are we really doing here? Because I will say, more and more that Venture X Platinum combo is just looking so absolutely fantastic, paired with some Hilton Aspire and Monboy Brilliant, or just one of those cards. But we shall see. We shall see. But thank you both. I appreciate your insight, and I will actually be reaching out to both of you about some future changes here. So be ready.
Absolutely. And just remember, if the head of the credit card high council dies, you do not get named Chadich to help in arbitrating the replacement. It's a joke for like
I
five
love that.
people, but
Two of them are here.
yeah, to the five of you out there, you're welcome. All right. So thanks, Craig, for your topic. We're going to move over to my topic, which I'm going to ask, in your opinion, what would be the best approach for customers approaching their first premium credit card? Not your fourth, not your fifth, but that very first one. What factors would be best served to take into account as someone is researching the card? Because research your cards, research, do the research, as the sledge from the sledging team says, do your research. Don't make it so that everybody else does research for you. Do your own research. And questions that you aren't asking yourself, questions that aren't asking themselves, but but you would benefit from. So first time doing the research, you're not sure what to ask. What are some questions to a first time applier that would be great for them that they would get benefit from? And then a follow up that is another question from a viewer, RP2048 asked, do we need a luxury card? What about a no annual fee setup in conjunction with the founder's card? Maybe this could work. To RP's question, I will just say the founder's card is geared toward businesses, geared toward founders. If you can make it work for you, it's an interesting set of suites. It's an interesting suite of products that you can get. Huge discounts on United flights, Hilton, at least Hilton Gold status. I feel like it includes Diamond if you pay for the high end one, but you're paying for $1,000 a year membership for that. Like, it's really not that much different than an 895, a potential 895 American Express Platinum or the 795 Sapphire Reserve. You do get an interesting suite of things, and they'll help you with your business if you're paying for the elite and you're paying that $1,000 a year. But like founders cards, a little bit different. And side quest question, I think there are some people who it could benefit. I don't think it will benefit the everyday person who's looking for their first premium card. Craig, as the holder of all three of the major premium travel credit cards, and Citi and Wells got off their butts and produced theirs, I'm sure you would really look at them, at those as well. What is a great approach for someone to for their first premium card?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, and this is going to just be my pragmatic approach, how much money are you willing to set on fire? And when I say set on fire, you will obviously get value out of this card, but let's say that you don't. Let's say that the only thing you get is a welcome bonus and that you actually do not enjoy the card, you do not like it. Are you willing to say, I am okay with taking a $795 test drive or a $695 test drive? Are you all right with taking a $395 test drive? That is the very first thing I'm asking people because I think, especially for our listeners and for individuals getting into the travel game or getting into the luxury card game, that is the biggest inhibitor. And obviously, to some people, I would say, hey, just eat the cost. Don't worry about the cost. You will make up extra value exponentially there. But if we're being truly pragmatic about this, how much are you willing to spend? Because that is, there we go. The second question I'm going to ask, and this goes back to Lonnie and to RJ, who are your partners? If you stay at Hyatt and you only stay there and you only fly United, I'm not going to tell you to get the Amex Platinum. It might be nice for 5x on flights, but what are you transferring those points over to? Let's be realistic here and saying, what is my use case and what system am I already in? And if you're somebody that says, hey, I just transfer all my points to international carriers, and it doesn't matter where my points come from, then my next question is, what experience do you want? I will say, I think that you will have different experiences with different cards. The Venture X is my newest of the three luxury cards or premium travel cards, and it has also been surprisingly the most used, but the least experiential of those cards, right? Like the Venture X is not going to change your life and how you experience things unless you are flying out of DC or into DC and New York, and mm, somewhat Denver. The Denver lounge is just a mess right now. I've been there twice, and each time it was an hour wait or more. I think, yeah, I know it's brutal. But my question there is, what experience do you want? Do you want to have this idea of luxury versus marketing? Because the Platinum has a fantastic way of people thinking or convincing you to think that you have a luxury experience, when in reality, you have a great marketing experience. I think, and I will say this, argue with somebody else, the Delta Sky Lounges are the best overarching overall lounge network for the domestic partners that we have. United is a pretty close second. You will have more options than American, and you will be disappointed with more of those options as well. It's the truth. You will have, there's an Admirals Club everywhere you go, and everywhere you'll go, oh, is this it? All right. But what do you want? I will say FHR for me has been the way that we have experienced some random things that we know that we would not do before. I've said this a few times. We do a staycation for our anniversary every year. And if you all have never experienced it, the ancient bathhouses, it is the weirdest, oddest way to spend an hour and a half because it's just truly a big ancient bathhouse. And it's 90 degrees and 100% humidity down there. And you just go and get in different tubs and you people watch. And it's hilarious. It doesn't sound like the best of times, but I promise it's something that we love doing now. And we went to the one in London, went to the one in Chicago, and it's for a fact something I know that I would not have experienced or initially paid money for. Now, I will gladly pay whatever the price is for me and my wife to go and people watch for an hour and a half and soak in random tubs. And then the Sapphire Reserve, I think, and I will say in its previous form, probably my second favorite of the cards. And I think it now is near indistinguishable from the Platinum. All things considered, granted, yes, there are obvious differences in where the credits align, but when we think about the type of client that they are trying to get, I think they're relatively aligned with each other. And so my question to folks are, do you want to experience new things or do you want a card that already matches your lifestyle? Because I don't, and I know that the typical wisdom is don't change your life to fit the card. There's a difference between changing your life to fit the card and experiencing new things that you might enjoy because the card gave you the opportunity to try them. I will say, yeah, you have to stay 2 nights for the edit, $250 credit. That's okay. If you are only, and this goes back to it, if you're only using your FHR credit for 1 day a year to stay somewhere, fine, that's awesome. But would you ever go and stay at that hotel without that FHR credit? If the answer is no, you probably don't need the FHR credit. But I know for a fact I would still stay at these hotels that we go to for our staycations, whether I got an FHR credit now or not. I just use it now because I get 5x points. And so I think testing out and asking yourself, do I want to experience new things is a very valid question because some people are really very much so set into their ways. And that's okay as well, right? If the platinum doesn't fit my life because I don't fly or want to use a incidental credit, or I don't use Equinox, or I don't use these different credits, and I don't want to have to work at all to fit these into my life, by all means, go with Adventure X. It is a perfectly reasonable and functional card, and is the card that I would recommend to most people. It purely because the Surpass is an Amex card, and it's not as bad as people say, but you may run into some acceptance issues. I've Domestically, I've had two times where I've been somebody's told me that we don't accept Amex. Internationally, three times. But that's the only reason that I can't say that is the perfect one card setup. I think a Venture X is a perfect one card setup. If you don't want to deal with anything else and you say, hey, this is my luxury card and it needs to be like ergonomic and how it functions within my setup, Venture X. So I just think that there are some things that you need to consider when you're talking about that. And now going into the founders card, this is going to be counterintuitive to what I just mentioned earlier in the podcast, but I am not a fan of the founders card. I am just going to say that right now. For me personally, I find it to be a little lackluster for what you're paying to get. I know there's a free trial version or there's a free version of the founders card. You're not getting much there. For the paid version, I think that you are better off buying intentionally with the add-ons that you want rather than the whole approach of just throw something at the wall and see what sticks. Now, if you're just looking to explore, fine, it's great. I know Joe Barreto is a big proponent of the Founders card. For me, it's just not something that I think is good. I think you're better off going and being intentional on where you're or what programs you can function or, excuse me, purchase to get those additional experiences. So, my viewpoint, but would love to hear what you all have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Craig. Yeah, on the founders card bit, I don't love that there's like the once you get it, if you do the free trial, if you do the free trial, the first thing they're doing is like pushing the 395 version because it's oh, you get a glimpse of these, but you really don't start getting things until you spend $400. But then the $400 version is really just the upsell to the 995 version. And if I were ever to do the founders card thing, which I don't think I am, I don't see myself or or my channel, my personal channel being something where it's, oh, I need this in my life. Lots of benefits, right? But then, like, if I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound. Like, I have to go to the top. I would have to start at the top. And would it be worth it? I don't know. But I know it's a 995 price tag to start, and I don't think I want to jump right there. It would get a huge value out of Hilton. I would get, I would definitely get value out of things. And to our point from one of our questions at the top of the show, yes, I like the idea of buying more memberships, and this is a way to buy membership, buy perks, buy access. But it's also primarily focused on like you're starting a like you're a business owner. And yes, I am technically a business owner. Oh, not technically, I am a business owner for my channel. Like it can work for me. I am not like everybody else. Like most folks aren't going to be able to aren't going to be able to look in at the founder's card because you can start a business. Yes, starting a business isn't a problem. Making your business sustainable enough to be able to afford the founder's card every year, that's going to be a problem. And making sure you're deriving value from your founder's card membership is also going to be a thing. So I do think that founder's card is for the right person, potentially really cool. If you're not that person, I don't know what to tell you. RJ, how would you approach, in your opinion, approaching your first premium card?
Don't look at Chase, Amex, or Capital One premium cards. That would be my first piece of advice. I'm not saying don't get them, but look at the Aspire, look at the Brilliant, look at the Delta Reserve, look at the United Club. Like, those cards are in more respects as powerful as the big three than not, right? The Delta Reserve, and I know that card because I have two of them, so it's not that different than the Platinum except for the earning categories, right? Like, it is different earning categories because it's Delta specific, but if you fly Delta, and that's where most of your Amex points go anyway, then get the green and get the reserve and or get the gold and get the reserve, right? Like you don't have to just get the platinum if you're in Amex. Like there are a couple of other options. There's the Brilliant, there's the Aspire, there's the Delta Reserve, right? Like those cards could actually be better for you for what you're trying to do. If you want status with Hilton, just get the Aspire, man. Don't make it hard on yourself. There's a card right there with top status with perks and benefits that will do good things for you. And that card has the Aspire has some legit categories. Like 7x travel is crazy. And I don't care what you think Hilton points are worth. I don't. 7x is 7x, man. Like it is. It is. So you have those options. Don't overlook those options because everybody who brings up premium travel cards brings up the Platinum, the CSR, and the Venture X. Like, those are not your only options, and they might not be your best option. If you use the United portal all the time and have the Explorer, maybe the club is worth it for you. Like, maybe that is the better option than getting a CSR. Look at all of the options on the table. Don't just look at the big three and feel like I've been in credit cards for a couple of years. I have the CSP. I've got this. I've got that. I really should quote graduate to this card. If you're having to cajole yourself into getting a premium card, A, you probably shouldn't get a premium card, but B, you probably shouldn't look at the big three in order to do it. Look at Delta, look at Hilton, look at other issuers. It's not what I would consider a premium card, but like the IHG card that gives you platinum and gives you that is a sneakily good card. Like, again, it's not premium in the way that I think Matt is meaning it, but look at other options. Don't just, and maybe you go back and get the platinum, right? Maybe you, after looking at all the options, you go get the platinum or the CSR or the Venture X. That's okay. But widen your pool and then narrow it. Don't start with three cards because you think those are the only premium cards and leave out a bunch of other cards that may have been better for you. It is always good to cast the widest net and bring it down than it is to only have two or three cards in your possibility tank and then go round and round with, oh, the CSR and the Platinum are very similar right now. The Platinum is about to get refreshed. Who knows if it's a big, medium, or large refresh? We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be two credits are swapped out or if they add a category other than flights. Like, we don't know. We legitimately do not know. There's not even rumors on it right now. Because trust me, I would make Matt talk about rumors in our news segment if they were on the Platinum. So there's not. Also, just know that this card is going to change over time. So if you're making this your linchpin, it's you're probably going to have what, 4 years, 5 years at the most before this card functionally changes. Now, those
Yeah.
changes might work for you. They might be great, but they also might just be like the CSR refresh, where a bunch of people who use that card and that card was their everything card now suddenly don't have it. So look at other options. Look at the complements to it. None of these cards, even the Venture X, is perfect in and of itself. Now, the Venture X is very handy because it's 2x everything, but a lot of people don't want 2x on every single thing. They want 2x as a catch-all. They want 3, 4, or 5x on most things and then 2x on the things that don't fit, right? So look at the saver, look at other cards to complement it. If you are into Chase, look at the Freedom cards, look at what is there. If you're in Amex, look at the other options, right? Wells Fargo, if they ever get their acting gear and bring out the Beyond, look at those options. The Autograph and the Aspire, like you pair that with a big boy travel card, that's a incredible setup. Like you, even if you have 17 custom caches like some people do, if they ever put it out with a real travel card, that could be great, right? There are options. But there are like if you're an AA flyer, like their premium card might be better for you than literally anything else because AA is weird right now, right? So look at the options. Don't limit yourself. That is my ultimate advice when getting any card, but especially if you're looking at cards with 3 digits for their annual fee or high 3 digits for the annual fee. Like, I have 3 really high annual fee cards. Everything else is not. Everything else is like $100. It's the 3 cards that I have at the top end that do most of that heavy lifting. But for me, they work. Would I recommend that setup to most people? God, no. Like, I would not recommend my setup to most people. I recommend my setup to me. Think also what you can do is pretend you are not you. Pretend you are advising somebody else, right? I do this a lot. If a friend asked me, if a friend was in my position and asked me which card to get, what questions would I ask them? What information would I want? How would I go about advising them? And then answer those questions myself to properly be able to help myself, right? Sometimes you do that, it works. But I think ultimately, if you should not just say, I want to get a premium card. You should say, I want Delta Diamond, or I want Hilton Diamond. I want a companion pack. Don't get a card because you think you need a premium card to get to a certain level. Like, that ultimately, I think, is the best advice I'm ever going to be able to give you. Like, it's not a status symbol. Like, it's not. It just, it is a tool in the toolbox. It is an expensive tool in the toolbox. Trust me, my Delta Business Reserve is coming out next month. I am acutely aware of how expensive that is.
Absolutely. And friends don't let friends get 17 custom caches.
This is true.
What about enemies?
No, unless you're trying to get them to trigger some sort of fraud warning somewhere.
Fair enough.
Thank you both for those. For me, my approach is the same as always. Evaluate. To RJ's point, if you are really knee deep in with one particular hotel chain or one particular airline, pursue their options first. Now, let me add this proviso. If that airline is JetBlue, just get the JetBlue Plus card. You will be fine. If that hotel is Hyatt, live with a $95 card until Hyatt's unicorn card comes out. But look at the premium options for your hotel chain of choice. Look at the premium options for your airline of choice, except the JetBlue Premier. And if transferable currencies are your thing, or you prefer the warm embrace of cash back in the event of, oh, shnikes. Again, members, you know what I'm trying to say. If you prefer that warm embrace, look at the Sapphire Reserve is going to be your best bet. But look at the Platinum, look at the Venture X, because they still have options to help you with the, oh, crap, portions of life. Thank you both for that. RJ, your topic.
A couple weeks ago, Lonnie was talking about a $2,000 credit card. We didn't really get into specifics. It was just part of one of his answers. So I am asking both of you if Amex or Chase or Wells Fargo or Citi, I don't know why it would be Citi, hand you a
Never City.
card with a $1,990 or $99 annual fee, but you
Mm-hmm.
get to pick 3 5X categories, 2 3X categories, a 2X everything, 3 $500 credits, lounge access via whatever network you want, a mid-range hotel status, and an entry-level status. What does your card look like? Now, we did go over this before. We answered a couple questions, so we should all be roughly ready. I am going to give my card first, as it is my prerogative to do as the question asker. My 5X is mobile wallet, dining, and online. Now, I'm separating mobile wallet and online because, yes, Apple Pay is in a lot of places. It is not everywhere online. A lot of the sort of smaller sites, a lot of like the EDC sites don't have Apple Pay. I am home because I work from home a lot. I use online to shop a lot. So I want online to be its own category. And then mobile wallet when I leave. And then dining because not everybody takes mobile wallet for restaurant. My three X's, I am forcing American Express to combine travel and transit and then supermarket. Because occasionally I am not the primary person who buys food, but occasionally I do go to the supermarket. And I feel like that is a solid use of a 3X. For my three $500 credits, Apple, a general Apple credit, no Apple Music. Apple One, I pay for the $40 one. So for me, it would be worth it. But $500 Apple credit, a general travel credit, a general dining credit. Not broken up monthly. Dear God, not broken up monthly. If I'm paying 2 grand, I'm hoping. Delta Lounge access, as Craig said, they are the best. They are the best. I enjoy them. LaGuardia, I hit LaGuardia as often as I can as my layover because of the lounge there. Hilton Gold, it is the best mid-tier in my opinion. I don't do Hyatt, so I'm never gonna pick Hyatt status. And then Delta Silver, because again, I fly Delta. So yeah, that would be my card. I would get rid of everything else. I would. I just would. It it would be this card. I might keep a couple of co-brands just for their status to like have that when I stay at an IHG. But this would be the card that comes out of my wallet 97% of the time. Craig, I will go to you next, sir. What
Yeah.
issuer are you doing? What does your card look like? I am so excited to hear this.
So just to make sure, because I want to make sure I heard it correctly, you chose Amex as your issuer, correct?
Yes, I
Okay.
chose American Express.
I am going to go with Chase as my issuer. With this one, I am going with an uncapped 5X grocery. I am doing
Bold.
every I am doing everything maliciously swiping this card. I'm gonna giggle every time I swipe.
And Chase is like, cool, you can do grocery, but not gift card. And not that is not a dig at you, that is a dig at the community.
I don't even care. I spend that much on groceries and I don't think I've actually bought a gift card in probably a year and a half, which is wild. But yeah. And if I do, it's from a gas station, but neither here nor there. Yeah, we're going 5X groceries uncapped. We are going 5X Chase's original travel. So travel and transit combined, cruises, hotels, flights, everything. And then my final 5X, and I hate to be this person, we're going mobile wallet as well. Just that covers almost every single bit of cash that I am spending regularly. For my two 3X multipliers, we are going with dining at 3X, and we are going to go with online shopping at 3X.
Man,
Um,
that's a chase card. Of course, it's dining 3x.
I can't
of
believe
course,
you didn't go
right?
daycare.
Honestly, no, because I can use mobile wallet for a
Oh,
daycare.
there you go. There you go.
Boom. They charge you an arm and a leg. Convenient.
Points.
Points. Right now, that is a Blue Business Plus employee card, so fun. I digress. My $500 first one is going to be a general travel credit. It's the Chase credit. Just add $200 onto that bad boy. We got 500. The second one is going to be a, again, $500 edit credit. However, we're going to shift that where it's going to be a one night stay one time a year. So we will figure it out from there. And my third $500 credit is going to be I'm going with do I want to do dining? Yeah,
You don't have to.
we're gonna go with the dining credit that's on the US bar. So just a $500 dining credit. Whatever you spend for that first $500, it's Chase, so obviously no points. But we're getting $500 right there. For the lounge access, I'm actually going to cheat and take the Platinum's lounge network because it's just better. It is. Absolutely love to the ends of the earth, the Philly Sapphire Lounge, but that is one lounge in a sea of a lounge that they don't own at JFK or IAD. And Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. The Platinum card, even if you don't like the lounge itself in Philadelphia or some of these other places, they are currently expanding. They're having new lounges in Salt Lake City, new lounges in Newark. Newark. They have their lounge that they own in JFK. It is the biggest network on top of, even if you combine Capital One and Chase, it's not even close. And then for my mid-tier status, I'm going to go with Marriott Platinum or Bonvoy Platinum. It is going to be the what I think is the best kind of in between there for me. You'll get the 4 p.m. checkout, you'll get the free breakfast. You'll occasionally get a upgrade, not super often, but enough. And then to RJ's point, I'm keeping some other co-branded cards for Hilton Diamond status, other things like that. And then the entry level airline that I'm actually going to go with is I'm going to take United Silver status. Right now, my two most flown airlines are AA for previously for work and United. I've only had one Delta round trip this year or in the last rolling 12 months, but somehow we've gotten 7 or 8 United flights. So we're going to go with United Silver, get enough of those free bags to justify it there. And as an extra added bonus, I'm going to be different and I'm going to be a sunshine here and not make my card blue or black for the Chase network. It is going to be a bright purple with black highlights. The Chase Amethyst card. There we go. Boom.
Ooh, I like it. Matt,
Matt looks so disappointed.
how are you gonna get JetBlue Mosaic 47 off of this card?
I don't even need to go to 47. All right, so 199.99 annual fee. I too am going to go in the Chase network because I'm a sucker for those sweet ultimate rewards. My 5X categories, I'm going 5X travel, 5X dining, 5X gas,
Oh, nice.
all uncapped. For $2,000, you best believe I'm getting those 5X categories uncapped. My multipliers, 3X mobile wallet, and the 3X, what's my other 3X category? 3X mobile wallet. You know what? I'm gonna go with 3X grocery. I wanna stop Chase in their insistence that 3X is dining because I just made it five. Three $500 credits, $500 general travel credit, a $500 general entertainment credit, and a $500. I don't want to do $500. I don't want to do $500 dining.
$500 Met credit, where they just come to your house and smack you around for a couple hours. It'll be like watching a game.
No, tempting,
I know people that
tempting.
would pay good money for that.
I don't need Reed Garrett slapping me in person while he slaps me hypothetically every time he pitches lately. What I need is a good defense. My third $500 credit, wow, that didn't land, would be, I'll cop out and say dining, but I had something better in the wise words of Archer. Damn it, I had something for this. Lounge access. I'm gonna bet on the Sapphire Lounge network. I think in time, and especially if you're handling out $2,000 annual fee cards, you're gonna get some money to continue to make it better. We know that LAX is on the way. We know that Las Vegas is on the way. We know that DFW is on the way. I think they're going to keep building out lounges. For the love of God, put two more lounges at JFK, and these two lounges you own. But anyway, I'm going to bet on their lounge network. Is it a foolish bet? Probably. Would I be better served going with Delta? Would I be better served going with literally any other option? Probably. But I'm going to place my bet, silly as it is. My mid-range hotel status, I too am going to go with Hilton Gold. As great as Bonvoy Platinum, it probably would be for at least guaranteeing that 4 p.m. checkout. The problem is I have to be accruing Bonvoy points, and I don't want to deal with Bonvoy points. if I'm booking that Bonvoy stay with that Bonvoy Platinum status. Now, certainly you could cash those out to airlines, but no, I don't want to. So you can't make me, and you're not gonna. So I will go with Hilton Gold, which is the gold standard mid-range hotel status. There's no hotel status in the mid-range that is better than Hilton Gold. Bonvoy Platinum makes a valiant effort, especially with the 4 p.m. guaranteed late checkout. I hear your arguments. I acknowledge your arguments. I would just prefer Hilton Gold. There it is. And the entry level airline status, it's going to be JetBlue Mosaic 1. Just because. That's probably more than likely going to become United Silver in the next 5 years. So I'm at least making that bet. And if it's not, cool. If it is, even better, I get to have status on United.
I like our cards. I wish they were real. I would apply for them.
Oh,
Oh,
100%.
color scheme, since Craig stole my purple idea. Something in the Wells Fargo autograph a tune world. Get creative, Chase. You can't, I know, but please try.
I also want to say this. I 100% agree with my co-host that Hilton Gold status is better than Marriott Platinum. 100%. I'm not going to argue that, but get an Aspire.
There is that. There is that. But on a $2,000 annual fee card.
That's fair.
Yeah. RJ, anything else?
No, enjoyed this. Sometimes it's nice to just have a little fun. And this was a little bit of fun. And now Matt has to read 47 names.
Before I get to that, any final thoughts, Craig?
No, I am good.
Perfect. RJ, any other final thoughts?
I am good, sir.
Perfect. And you can check us out at stackyourpoints.com. Membership, anything you need for the Stack Your Points universe. It's not a cinematic universe, don't ask. Anything you need for the Stack Your Points universe is at stackyourpoints.com. Check that out. All of our videos will be there. Membership, contact us, all there. Link to the Discord, everything you need right there. We have a new feature as we have gained soft monetization. We have memberships now on the YouTube channel. We have 3 levels of membership. You have silver, gold, and diamond. Sorry. We just basically stole it from Hilton. Our diamond members are AP, Double Animal Fries, Keith, Mitch 528, and Rupert Pond, or Rupert Pond. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. We have a sizable number of silver members, including Bill Wright, Seabass, Chatan Patel, David Roper, Derek, Economic Lenses, Flying Turtles, Gin Coast, Glenn Sizemore, any relation to Grady Sizemore, Green Knight, sorry, Henry in Louisville, J-Ro, J-Rome, James V, Jason Smith, Juan Garcia, Juan Meowmix, Just a Guy, K, Kirby, Leon Dre, M2K, Matt Clausen, who's that guy? He sucks. Mertz, Points and Miles, Mike Newland, Mike from LA, Mushu Pork, Nick, two Nicks, did not have a stroke there. Philip Stuckey, Filmo's World, Points Precision, QC Man 2000, Ralph Aguayo, Rex Bleen, Rodrigo Mendez, Stealth Lady C, Texas Dog, The Rewards Master, The Eternal Vortex, Vincent Pascal. All silver members, all new members to the channel because all of our members are new. Thank you very much. And finally, we have our gold tier members who are Dr. Crayons, Ron, Robert J, and Spathco. Appreciate all of you for joining the membership as soon as we opened it. Going forward, I'll be going over the diamond members and any new members. If you want your name read in that long of a list and continue growing that list, consider becoming a channel member. I believe the tiers break down as silver is $2.99 a month, $1.99 a month for silver, sorry, $5.99 a month for gold, and $9.99 or $9.99 a month for diamond. So we stole from Hilton, but we give to you this podcast in various forms through the membership. Check out the membership tiers if you're so inclined. Join the button down below. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next week. We will see you on Thursday for the live.